I have a friend of mine, he's in cybersecurity, and one of the guys we interview all the time, he was a ranger, a U.S. Army Ranger. So every time I say Captain America, I make him throw up his hands like this, and I trick him halfway through. Just I want to see if he's paying attention.
Yeah.
If you're Captain America, you got to be Captain America. Let's see. Are we booming? Waiting for the stream. Oh, there it goes. You don't have to be quiet. You guys can continue talking.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Listen, it's all good.
I'm just waiting for it to load on. Oh, I got it. It's on your Facebook.
It's on my Facebook. I'm so excited.
It's right there. So our page right now. Share.
Okay, no worries. And I'm going to pull it up here so I can ask all the questions that I want. Oh, Fly Navarro is now live with no BS. Sousa, are you coming in? Sousa's my dog.
Aw. We might have a cat photo bomb.
What's that?
Have a cat photo bomb this video.
Oh, that's man. If the pet comes in, I'm so bringing it. Sousa would do it, but usually she's more in the afternoon. She likes her walk around 5 o'clock. So right now she's going to be quiet, but she has guests in.
She's an evening cat.
We have 2 dachshunds at the house right now, and they usually run around and play. So, ladies, are you ready?
We are ready.
All right, let me show me your ready face. Really?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to it. And we are back. Here I am, Fly Navarro with the No BS World Tour. Who is happy with their ready face? I want to see a show of hands. Was that a real good ready face? I want some excitement here, ladies. Come on. I'm here with Emily and Amanda, the Gale Force Twins. We're going to get them fired up like we get fired up here on the No BS World Tour. Good afternoon, Amanda and Emily. How are you guys doing today?
We're great. Thanks for having us. It's super cool to be doing this live podcast with you. I also feel like we should add to the viewers that I'm Amanda. And I'm Emily. So if you guys don't know, if you're from Fly's page, we're the Gale Force Twins. And if you're coming from our page, hey guys, I'm Emily and this is Amanda. We're so glad you're all here.
I'm so glad you guys had that straightened out. I'm going to, hold on a second. I need an erasable marker so I can write it on my computer screen. Who's who? What's that?
You can put a erasable marker on your computer screen.
Why not? If not, I'm not going to know who Emily and who is Amanda. I need little notes. I write stuff everywhere. No, I'm just joking. I'm not going to do that. So, in case you ladies didn't know, if you always know if I'm not telling the truth if my lips are moving. So, as a fisherman, I was always told, don't ever let the truth get in the way of a good story. So if I want to tell a story, it could be the truth. It could be a fishing story. You never know. So, and as we go along, we've gotten this thing started. I see everybody saying hello to you, Joe Shaden, it looks like you guys are more popular on my page than I am. So, which is cool. Josh says hello to Fly and the Gale Force Twins. Joe Shaden is saying hello. Hojo, all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada, is joining us. Raphael, I don't know where Raphael is from, but I know where Hojo's from because I'm supposed to be in Nova Scotia right now. But because of this crazy stuff, I don't know, because of all the borders being closed.
Yeah.
I'm usually up in Canada right now, giant tuna fishing for 6 weeks.
Wow, that sounds. Well, we were supposed to be in.
We were all supposed to be giant tuna fishing.
Supposed to be last week.
Yeah, it was. I think it was last week or the week before.
And there's so many hurricanes offshore for us, and I mean, I just feel like there's a lot of hurricanes this season. We had more planned. We had the bluefin tuna fishing planned, and then we were actually going to be doing a great white shark cage dive. Yeah, we were going to go out of Cape Cod and do a great white shark cage dive.
Really?
Yes, but the hurricanes offshores canceled the whole trip.
So it was just like one excursion after another started to get canceled, to the point where we were thinking, you know, we should probably just wait. We don't want to go all the way over there and just stay on land all that.
No, listen, that's why I personally I canceled as well. As soon as I saw the weather was bad, I was like, okay, I'm done. I've got like 12 different projects going on, so I'll stay at home and I'll work if I can't go out and go fishing. I will leave home to go fishing, but I'd rather get work done if the weather looks bad.
Yeah, we took advantage of it. We caught up on so many emails and video editing. We just figured we would take the time and really sit down and have some real computer work days, is what we call them.
Well, I got way too many of those. So let me give a couple shout outs right now. I see Marty Bates all the way from Cape Verde, Africa. Barefoot Sierra all the way from Sierra Leone. Good to see you. From Sierra Leone. They're very big fans of you guys. All the way in Sierra Leone. Big Lou is in the house. How are you? Me and Big Lou went to school together. We went to high school and junior high. Ray Williams, Marty Bates, Thomas Bennett. Thomas, are you in Cabo San Lucas right now? Or are you in home? Aaron File all the way from Africa. Manuel from San Diego. Good to see you guys. Riley Miles, big fan of you ladies as well. So you're getting the traction here in the No BS World Tour. Mike Barry is in the house as well. So let's get to the very and Mike, I'm sorry, from Sarasota, you as well. So those are my shout outs. I want to give you guys full attention. So you guys are the Gale Force Twins. Let's start from the very beginning. Tell everybody who the Gale Force Twins are.
Okay, wow, that's going to be a loaded question. So loaded.
It's way loaded.
I guess I'll start with saying that, I mean, I'm sure we have some viewers on here that are from our page as well, and the new people here know that we are both, we both have our captain's licenses. We got started working on fishing charter boats actually in college, but prior to then, we were huge fishing girls that just loved doing it as kids. And then from college, working on a charter boat turned into another job on the water and another job on the water. And every time we were like, well, we should really go get regular jobs. And it never really happened, which I'm thankful for to this day. But at the time I was like, I really need a regular job. I was so stressed about it. But now we have, after chartering with other companies, we went off on our own, started our own charter fishing business. And more recently, since COVID, we are now full-time creating educational fishing videos on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and we are not afraid to share our knowledge, because I know there's this huge stigma about fishing being a secret, but we really don't want it to be a secret. We're going to show you how to catch what we catch.
I'm going to show you my rigs, my secret stuff, all that.
I just won't give you the numbers.
Yeah, you just won't have the exact numbers of the fishing spot.
Secret rigs? Whoa, whoa. I got to know about these secret rigs.
It's just crazy that there's so many fishermen, and I'm sure it's just part of the world that when people start catching fish or start succeeding,
it's like, how'd you do it? They're like, oh, I just, and they don't like say it. And
or you'll be like, oh, where'd you go do that? And they'll be like, out front, out back. And it's you didn't want to tell me on a coral head around this area, like none of that. And, we're not really believers in that. So make sure that even in our YouTube videos with thousands of people, I'm not going to be afraid to tell you how to do it, because if you can pay attention and you can replicate that, then good for you. You deserve to go catch your fish. I agree with that.
So I want, again, I got to give a lot of these shout outs, because people are actually, they know you better than me on my page, which I love. I think it's awesome. I have, where is he? I see Love Ladao. Hi, Emily and Amanda, watching from Dubai, UAE.
That is cool. I think it's absolutely amazing that we literally have, we are both talking on one screen, and we have people from around the world watching us.
Absolutely.
Mind-blowing.
I think first of all, it's great. I love the fact that so many of my followers are international. And it depending on what time of day I go live, where they're watching from. later on in the day, let's say I start doing more at 5 in the afternoon, I get a lot more from Australia and Japan. I have a great following in Japan. It's why I'm putting on a tournament in Okinawa, getting ready to actually. I see Damon joining in from Oman as well. So Damon was one of our judges at my tournament in Saudi Arabia. So, and I love putting on events. So I'm always creating events in new locations. So I don't know if you guys know who Tarzan is. I'm a big fan of Tarzan. He's 11 years old.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah. He's a great kid. His family's super. We've gotten together a bunch and we've become family friends now. So he got word that I was going to put on a tournament in Okinawa, but I was going to do a second tournament, a squid tournament off the beach in Okinawa. And he's like, I want to be your assistant. I'm like, okay. But we got to talk to your parents. I'm not about ready to, I have no problem bringing him along. But he's still 11 years old. So I told his parents at 15, I'll hire him and I'll fly him everywhere I go. So, Jimmy, Bluefin Tuna Fishing next year in Boston. Captain Butch, how are you? Brett started following you guys in March during the lockdown. He's learned a lot from your videos in Atlanta. And Victor's watching from Mauritius, and he's a big fan of yours as well. Riley, okay. Adam is saying something. Hello, captains. Hey, Emily and Amanda. I've loved the journey starting at the University of Miami. I remember your folks chartered a fishing boat for your birthday when you were young, but did they take you fishing a lot growing up, or was this strictly your thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, well, the fishing was strictly our thing.
It was definitely our thing.
It was something but our family was really into. We used to vacation to the Florida Keys every summer. Maybe it was every spring break. It was just what we did.
Every birthday, every excuse to get down there, we went down there.
And at the time, our family had like a 24-foot deck boat. It was just a little sandbar boat. And so we were really into the sandbar. Like
they introduced us to the salt life.
Yes. Sure. So we would stay at a place in the Keys that had a little, it was like a pier actually. Yeah. Well, not a pier because we're in the Keys, but a little dock that went out, and we saw other kids fishing on the dock. We were like, well, I want to do that. So we were the ones that initially were like, let's go do this. And they saw us taking an interest in it on our own on the docks. And that's when they were like, okay, well, let's go get them a little combo. So our dad took us to the big Bass Pro, I guess it is, here in Isla Morada, and got us, I don't remember what kind of combo, something cheap. And we went, got the little tackle boxes, whatever, had a great time. And our dad used to
sit there and he would tie the hooks on. None of us knew knots. Our dad didn't know knots. We obviously didn't know knots. We were kids, and we would just tie whatever we could. And we were catching little snappers on the docks. We were catching stingrays and all sorts of stuff. And then it was really after that experience that we started asking our parents, like, we want to go on a fishing charter. We want to go deep sea fishing.
Well, and being kids, especially in the Keys, you see the signs on the road. It's like deep sea fishing.
Yeah,
like, I want to.
I remember thinking deep sea. I have to go deep sea fishing.
So that was a big thing for us. We said, hey, I really want to go deep sea fishing, and it was our 13th birthday, which was a good excuse to ask for a deep sea fishing trip.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It was pretty cool, and I mean, our parents, although they didn't fish, they completely supported us in pursuing this and getting it for ourselves.
Yeah, so that's really how it started. And then from there, it went to, they would send us out with captains in the Keys, like, oh, you two go have fun. 2 of us would go. And then we got to know a captain pretty well. And that's where the first job came from, was a captain that we had known. He was like, you should really just come work for me. So we did
kind of like what you're talking about with Tarzan.
Yeah.
You should just exactly.
Sounds like that story.
That's the great thing about the fishing community. Most people are very genuine, open, and they want to share. They truly do. And I know the secretive part because I've been a part of that. I don't like that. I'm not very big on that. I know I was just telling the story, I think on Friday or sometime last week on my podcast, where I actually had a deckhand once tell me we had just caught a triple. We're sitting on the on top of the day for the daily, and my deckhand's like, you don't have to answer the phone calls. And I'm like, yesterday when we weren't catching, I was calling all those people. So I'm always big with sharing information. Always very, very big.
Yeah, especially in the tournament world. I mean, we fish some tournaments as well, and like usually the captain of the crew, they're talking to their buddies, talking to their friends, like, hey, where's the bite bend? What's going on? And it seems like for the most part, no matter if you give the information or not, everybody's still going to figure out where the bite is, and they're going to be fishing next to each other. So you might as well be the nice person and tell them where the bite's been.
That's a really
exactly. Exactly. Is there a delay?
I think so. I think there's there's moments where I'm not sure if we're loaded.
Well, we're all the way.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. Just keep talking. Do like I do. I just keep talking.
Yeah.
I just don't want to talk over you ladies because my personality will do that. Wait a second. Jimmy O'Neill, in my opinion, women anglers are technically better anglers due to the lack of ego when learning skills. Women rules, men, what did you say? Men drool. Okay, Jimmy, that's enough. I know I prefer teaching women and children how to fish.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've both noticed that.
Yeah,
a big part, because like we were just saying earlier. Oh well, I don't know if we said it on this podcast.
We did not say this on the podcast.
But this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, we hosted a women's only fish camp. So we had 12 girls, and we had 2 boats, and we went out. We taught them everything they needed to know about fishing, knot tying, rigging, anchoring, cast net throwing, catching bait, all the details, hooking your live bait, cutting up dead bait, catching your fish, de-hooking your fish. So we really taught every single thing you needed to know. And I noticed, especially women, I think that there was one specific lady on my boat, and she had the best technique. And I think that women fishing, you're not supposed to muscle your way through it.
Amen.
Yeah, it's very technical. So if you understand the technique, obviously if you have a giant fish on, you're going to get sore and tired and it's going to be difficult. But as long as you got the technique down, you can outsmart any fish, except maybe a Goliath grouper. Once they rock you, that's game over. But so I mean, I think women, they're teachable. They're very teachable.
Because we've definitely had on charters and things like that, we've had families come, and we've had the mom and the kids and then the dads. And for some reason, the dads are always the ones that catch the least amount of fish because they think they already know how to do it. You tell them, hey, make sure you do this.
Especially in saltwater fishing, we don't set the hook.
And a lot of our clients, and I'm sure you would agree with that too, saltwater fishing is not as accessible for everyone. So a lot of people that come over to do it on a charter, they've either done it on a lake or maybe very lightly recreationally. So they're used to things like setting hooks, and just the techniques are different. You have to tell them, don't set the hook. No matter how many times you tell them, they still do it. But then the kids over there are listening to you, reeling it in.
Well, let's explain why we don't set the hook in saltwater. And there's an actual reason behind that. So we're using mainly circle hooks in our fishery. And circle hook, go ahead. I'll let you guys explain that. Why we don't set hooks in our fishery.
They were designed in a way to where basically the fish don't die when they get hooked. So it's shaped in a circle, so when they start to swallow it, it actually can come back up out their mouth and then just catch the corner of their mouth right there. And if you set the hook, you'll just yank that whole thing right out. Did you have?
That's what I
was saying.
Yeah.
You guys, listen, you hit the nail right on the head. But we had to explain that for the people that aren't familiar with circle hooks and why in saltwater it's a hook reasoning. It's not because the water's different.
Right.
I think because I'm surprised. I wonder why, in the bass fishing world. Well, I guess they're using a lot of artificials.
We have the circle hook started. Maybe you could agree with this in the tournament world because you're doing billfish.
That's what got started,
is a lot
isn't it?
Catch and release, and you want your fish to swim away strong. So sailfish and marlin, that was all catch and release.
So, are you ladies familiar with the history of circle hooks?
I'm pretty sure I've got a. Yeah, I mean, go ahead, tell the story, but
No. Well, the circle hooks actually are an older style hook than JHooks. They were created out of bone in the South Pacific, where they would hook all their fish in the corner of their mouth.
Interesting.
And then what's that?
That's a new fact. I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
Oh.
Okay, so the circle hooks were designed out of bone, and you see a lot of history in it in Hawaii, where I have this beautiful mother of pearl circle hook that was carved out for me the first time I went to Hawaii back in '08, and somebody gave it to me as a gift. And then slowly but surely, we went into the J hook world, but a lot of the longliners still use the circle hooks because you didn't have to set the hook. A fish would swallow the bait, like you said, and as he's swimming away, the pressure of the long line would get him in the corner of their mouth. So one of the things that we started learning in the saltwater world was while we're hooking these fish in the corner of their mouths, we're doing less damage to them. So one of the first people that started fishing exclusively circle hooks was Captain Ronnie Hamlin out of Guatemala. And when he was starting to see the number of fish that were hooked in the corner of his mouth, they continued to use these circle hooks. And then Guatemala was like the first avenue or the first fishery that was almost exclusively all circle hooks, so that these fish would swim away more healthily, or more healthy, should I say. At that point, me personally, I was living in Venezuela. It was in the late 90s. And there was about 3 of us that were playing with circle hooks, 3 deckhands that were playing with circle hooks on how to make our baits swim the best, because white marlin, and as most people know, white marlin sailfish, you want a swimming bait, and that's where you're going to get the most bites. And we were playing with circle hooks. Well, I left Venezuela with like 3 or 4 different techniques on, and I was only allowed to fish one bait with a circle hook in my spread. My captain, my owner, this was still really, really new. But we were playing with it. Then I got to work on the reel tight, and I continued to play with it while we were in Mexico. And it goes to show you how much has changed. When we broke the world record for most sailfish in a day, where we caught 120 in Isla Mujeres, it was all J hooks. It was all J hooks. Yeah, we caught all 120 on J hooks. And then very shortly thereafter, I want to say it was 2000, and I'd have to look back. It's either 2002 or 2003. HMS, Highly Migratory Species Advisory Panel, they enforced the law, or they created the law, that any tournaments that have billfish listed in them, you had to use a circle hook. So in that time, all of the fishermen started saying, well, if we're going to have to do it for tournaments, we might as well learn how to practice it in real day. And luckily for me at the time, I had already had 3 or 4 years of practicing with it. And then we went into using live baits with kites and all that other stuff. But by that time, the law was already implemented. But the law is only if you're using natural or live baits. So to go back to your question with bass, why are they using J hooks and bass? Because it's still artificial lures. Exactly. So if we're using artificial lures, we're allowed to use J hooks all day long. It's just with the natural bait. And as you said, the ultimate goal is to get it right there in the corner of their mouth. You don't want anything being snapped. Everything is a very slow process to allow that hook to get right in their corner of their mouth.
You take all of your, like, that instinct to, like, when a fish comes on, you get so excited and you have to tell yourself to calm down, because when they eat, you don't have time. You gotta sit there, and you're sitting there you're letting them eat it, and you're thinking, dang, I really want to reel on this fish, but you can't. You really gotta let them have it. One of our first jobs out of college, we actually worked for a series of tournaments. It was Skip's tournaments and the custom shootout in the Bahamas.
Siri just turned on when you said series.
Oh, hello, Siri.
So it was really cool. We learned a lot about, that was like, what would you say that was our
first job out of college. In college we worked on a fishing charter boat, and then literally the week after we graduated, we started working for Captain Skip Smith, who ran Skip's tournaments and the custom shootout in the Bahamas. And that was where we really, I think our eyes were so open to the world of fishing. Like I knew it was huge, but I didn't realize how huge it was, and the different levels of fishing, how serious it could get. And so that was really cool, that whole experience. I mean, those tournaments that we did is really where a lot of the networking came from for us. Mm-hmm. We met everybody you need to know there. The who's who, the who matters, like the top companies.
The why you use circle hooks.
The why you use circle hooks. Yeah, we learned it all there.
Exactly. It's a very, very small community, fishing is. And especially when you start getting into the bill fishing world, it becomes even smaller.
It's funny how there's like inside of fishing, there's different, you can almost say cliques. I wouldn't say that we're cliquey people, but you've got the bill fisherman, you got the live bait fisherman, you have the dead bait fisherman, and then you have the guys that are really into bottom fishing. And not to mention there's the commercial fishing, then there's the recreational fishing, and then on top of it you got lobstering and stone crabbing.
Once you get into the, like you said, the tournament world, everything shrinks. Just drastically shrinks. And for us, we started fishing tournaments as soon as I heard about tournaments, because we're very competitive people naturally.
That's what attracted us to it.
I think that because for us, we ran college track at the University of Miami, and we were so competitive, and it was kind of like during season, every single weekend we had a track meet. So you're prepping yourself, you're getting into the right mindset.
Right. And you always had a consistent flow of adrenaline. Every Saturday was like, you got that.
You compete, you perform, you win an award. And it was this getting in this mindset. And then after graduating college, and it had taken, at this point we had ran track for 10 years of our lives, obviously to get to the college track level. And coming off of that, graduating, it's it's over.
It was weird. You feel like I was missing something. I was so used to getting this weekly adrenaline rush and all these peaks in your life and peaks and valleys, and then all of a sudden it stops.
It just stops. And that's, I think for us was we were like, well, what do we do now? And I think we tried getting into CrossFit, and we tried picking up another sport, but I think at that point it was, CrossFit for one it's a cool sport, but
it's pretty intense.
Very intense. And not that track's not intense,
but after doing it 10 years competitively, it was kind of I think I needed a break from the competitiveness in an athletic
way. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And that's
be careful that you do not throw fishing into non-athletic.
No,
fair. You're right.
I'm just. Yeah. You're treading on where I've made a career, and literally I wake up every morning to introduce the sport of fishing to as many people possible. So you're going to crush me if you say it's non-athletic.
Yeah, totally not.
Because I've been telling everybody I'm a professional athlete for years.
Well, to finish the story, what I was going to say was I think that finding fishing and learning, especially that there was basically fishing competitions, tournaments, whether it was bass fishing or sailfish tournaments, was realizing that you could compete and win. That was so cool to me. I was like, wait, and the cool thing about fishing is it doesn't really matter how old you are. You can do it, no matter what. And that was really unique. And once I realized that you could compete in it, and it was a very competitive sport, I think we really fell in love with
it. I love the way you circled back around and you saved that. That was huge. That was huge. You were going to burst my super athlete bubble forever.
Say that it wasn't a sport. I think
it was just from the I don't even know. I think we were just coming off.
I totally understand, because growing up, I played ball, I ran track, and as soon as I got into college, I was just college, getting ready to start working, but I missed that team sport. I missed team sports. And soon as I got introduced to fishing as a profession, I realized very quickly, number one, uber competitive, ridiculously competitive. And then you get into the tournament scene. And I was just talking to somebody about it the other day. They fished their first tournament. They had a couple of little hiccups, just normal things. And it wasn't even the billfish world. This is just their first tournament. And my first words to them, at least the way I fish, to me, every day is a tournament. Every single day. I'm sorry to tell you, but my job every day is to catch as many fish as possible and kick your ass. I'm going to catch more fish than the people on one side and the other. That's just me. That's just the way I am.
I totally get that. I would say when we worked on that charter boat in Key West, it was on a dock with like 5 or 6 charter boats. And every time the boat would come back in and they would say, okay, we always said, who's the high hook captain of the day? And we would see which boat caught the most fish, caught the best fish, and
who had mahi flags, tuna flags, sailfish flags, and
that was a common thing in the Key West charter boats is you hang a flag for your catch. Well, it's not. It's a lot of the charter boats.
A lot of sport fish. I would say
it's a sport fish scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we would go and we would hang our mahi flag and hang a tuna flag, and then maybe hang a wahoo flag, and it was like, oh wow, they had a good day. Yeah.
So it's just as competitive. It's very competitive, and that's why, I mean, if you look at it, what sports is nothing more than points, and what better way to compare it than flags? I mean, oh, look, you only have 3 of them little things. Oh, how cute. Look at my 7. So I totally get it.
And when we started charter fishing, after working on sport fish boats, we coincidentally kind of fell into the center console charter scene. And center console charter scene it's very different. And I remember I was like, oh, I miss putting the flags up. Like I really want to hang my flags, and you just don't do it.
Well, it's cultural. I think that there's cultures inside of fishing.
Absolutely. But you can still hang your flags on your center console.
Center console, if we caught sailfish,
okay. Yes.
We wouldn't do the tuna flag, but if we caught sailfish, they were sailfish flags.
Yeah. Okay, because I remember the day we were off of Boynton. We were very, very lucky. Everything aligned, and we caught 58 sailfish on our Invincible. We went out on the Invincible and we caught 58. And we didn't have enough flags. On the big boat, we always had enough flags. Right. So we had to figure, first of all, where do you hang 58 flags? And number 2, we didn't have enough. So what we did is we had the red pennants. We were cutting them in half.
Oh, no way. So funny.
We cut them in half, and then we actually ran 2 pieces of 400-pound from the tower down to the cleats. And we ran our red flags on there. So just for the picture, again, just to be competitive. Exactly. It's you know what? It always boils down. We're all very, very competitive. We want to be the best. So, Paolo, good to see you from Italy. We have all kinds of questions, and I've really been going through so many. And I'm sorry, whoever I do leave out, I don't mean to, but we have a lot of great questions for the Gale Force Twins. But this one from Anthony is a huge question. What's that?
Looking at the question.
Are you looking at the question? So Anthony has asked this question, so I got to ask, which one of you two is the fastest sprinter? Who's faster?
It depends. I would say it's somewhat situational.
It's very situational,
but
okay.
I was faster out of the blocks. Let's put it that way. So we did, outside of pole vaulting, we actually did the 4x1. We did 100 hurdles, 400 hurdles, 300 hurdles. We did basically sprinting 400 meters and less, and then we pole vaulted.
Okay.
So we both did the 4x1 relay. I was the first leg because I was faster out of the blocks. So I had a really good start. But then she was the third leg, and the third leg's actually like the longest stretch. It's one of the longer stretches of the 4x1. So she had more stamina. So it's definitely one of those.
And before we got really into like this short sprint scene, just in track in general, there was a period of time where I did like run the 800. So maybe I was more of an endurance. I wouldn't want to say I was an endurance runner because like when you think endurance, you think mile,
an
2
endurance
mile
sprinter.
And yeah,
You're an endurance sprinter.
Yeah, so that's probably where that came from.
And same with our pole vaulting styles. I was more of a speed jumper, so I was really fast, and my power came from speed. And
I was
she
a
was more
technique jumper.
So her power came from more so like technique and strength.
Right. So I would agree with that. Pole vaulting, there's different types of jumpers, and she's a speed jumper. So that basically means she runs as fast as she can, and she's relying on speed to whip herself over that bar, which it works great. That's one way to do it, and is called being like a technique jumper. I was also like power jumpers. That was really a technique jumper, where so I had like my form was like on point. Like I was. That's how I did it.
See, you know what? I like that you guys are like the yin to your yang. You guys, even though you're twins, there's one that's just a little bit better at one thing than the other, but it helps each other, which I think is great.
We used to have like opposite problems in our pole vault form. I mean, pole vault's very technical. We say if only we could just mush ourselves together, like we would be the best pole vaulter in the world.
Yeah, it was like she had a better. The plant is the bottom part of the jump, so it's the first half of the jump. She had a really good plant, and I had a really good top half. So my swing and my form going over the bar was really good. And I struggled with my plant.
And so it was like, and I struggled with my top half.
Like if we could take her bottom form and my top form and mush them together, we would have been
unbeatable.
Yeah, it would have been great.
You would have been unbeatable. And it's funny because I ran the 4x100. I made it to the state finals in the 4x100 in high school back years ago when there was dinosaurs. What's that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when there was dinosaurs. See, when I was in high school, we didn't even have fire. They hadn't invented fire yet. Yeah, we had to walk to school because there was no wheels for the buses, nothing. Yeah. I'm dating myself, just so you know. So, man, there's some great questions, and I want questions for you. I see some that are coming in for me. Stephen Atwater is asking, can they buy your apparel online?
Yes, actually, that's.
Whoa. I gotta stop right there. Hold on. I have not seen that much excitement since a 500-pound blue marlin showed up on my right bridge teaser. You both of your eyes went, yes, awesome.
Work in progress.
Yeah, no, literally, it's super funny. We are, because of COVID, so we work with our apparel sponsor, and they're great. But because of COVID, they couldn't get like
a lot of back order.
Everything was on back order. Everything's been on back order for so long.
But on top of it, right before COVID happened, we were coming out with new gear. So it was like I had all this new stuff coming in, and then COVID happened.
So literally today, we are going to be taking an inventory and putting it on our website, hopefully by the end of the night tonight. So it's happening like today.
Like literally today.
Like, as soon as like we say goodbye to you, I'm literally gonna like get on my computer and get these shirts on our website. So that's why we're really excited.
So your shirts are in.
They're in.
I have them.
You just have. Where are they?
In boxes.
They're in boxes, cardboard boxes, and like bags. They're packaged very nicely.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So everybody who's listening, go to their website, which is galeforcetwins.com.
Galeforcefishing.com.
Whoa. It's what again?
Galeforcefishing.com.
Galeforcefishing.com. And go get your shirt. What else do you guys have?
We have hats, buffs,
stickers,
t-shirts,
and we have hoodies now.
And performance shirts, of course, which she's wearing.
Wait a second. You have stickers?
We'll send you.
Hold on a second. Do you have one of these stickers?
We do not. I think
you need one of these stickers. So any marina I show up at, these end up on everybody's license plates. I don't know how it happens.
That's hilarious.
Don't ask me how that happens. But everybody gets a bobblehead sticker on their license plate.
We'll have to like trade stickers.
We'll send you stickers, and
we can do that. And I have some buffs. Listen, this year was the first year I created buffs to put out in all of my. Thank you, Paul. Paul just put up your website in the.
Thank you,
Paul. Hey, let me tell you, Paul's a go-getter out of Rhode Island. Oh, wait a second. Paul's out of Connecticut, and I'm sorry. He's not out of Rhode Island. He's next door. So
it's actually interesting. He's putting galeforcefishing.com when you had said Gale Force Twins. Somebody owns Gale Force Twins.
Yeah, that's the only reason our website's Gale Force Fishing.
So we hired a lawyer to try and get this.
Well, we hired like a GoDaddy lawyer,
and they wouldn't.
And we offered to buy galeforcetwins.com, like name your price. I want that site, and they're not selling.
They won't even.
They won't even like answer it.
Really?
I think this person knows who we are, and they're gonna hold on to this website until I have to pay an arm and a leg for it.
So you're better off, but it's funny because I recently got a couple of your URLs that I needed, but it wasn't the one I wanted, and there was already a price up for it. So you need to find out who owns it. So whether you know, and I'm not sure if you know, well, the name of one of my companies is Fly Zone Fishing, but I have Fly Zone Fishing, I have Fly Zone Outdoors, I have Fly Zone Hunting, I have The Fly Zone. I mean, I have different companies for different things. But Fly Zone alone, I wanted to buy that URL, and that way it can fall underneath all of it. What's that?
She goes, we have galeforce.com. Like, no, we don't.
I have Gale. I tried to buy Fly Zone, so I figured out who owns it, and it's Nike and Michael Jordan. So I decided not to get into a bidding war with them. Yeah, they can have it. What's that?
You're trying to figure out who owns it, and it was like protected.
I found out who owns Fly Zone. So I'm not ready to compete with Nike yet. My goal is 2022, and I'll go knocking on their door, and that's my goal. 2022, 2023 is right at the apex of when I'm expecting that I can actually I'm expecting them to call me, hey, do you want to buy it? So I'm not even going to call them. I'm going to wait for them to call me.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We have galetwins.com.
Yeah, we have Gale Twins.
So for the and we haven't got into it, so I'm going to let you guys get into it. Explain where Gale Force Twins and Gale Twins, because I have not said anything that would let people know. So explain where Gale Force or Gale Twins comes from.
So a lot of people some people don't realize this, but Gale is our last name, and it's spelled Gale. A lot of people think that Gale is normally spelled Gail, Gail
or Gayle.
Correct.
But our last name is spelled Gale. So we are true to it. We're not changing any spelling. And it actually, for us, it started in sports. It was actually our weightlifting coach when we were
in high school.
We were at a track meet walking by, and he was like, hey, it's the Gale Force Twins. And that was like, at the time,
that was awesome.
Yeah, it was just it didn't even register to me. Obviously, when I was a junior in high school, I really didn't have plans on creating this whole life in the fishing world. So I was like, cool, whatever, Gale Force Twin.
And then it kind of caught on. People started to call us that. And then it was, once we got into the charter boat scene, we were like, okay. It was the same thing. The first captain we worked for, so he started calling us Gale Force Twins.
Gale Force Twins.
And then it was like, well, I guess that's what we're. And it works.
It works. It's perfect. And it's the best.
I didn't have to think about what I was going to call my company. Yeah. It was, I know what to call it.
Gale Force Twins LLC. That's our company name.
You gotta love that.
Yeah. So that's really where it came from for us.
So not only are you guys sisters, but you guys are business partners as well.
Mm-hmm. We are 50% on our business. It's just the two of us. Mm-hmm. Same like you were saying earlier, you have nobody helping out with these podcasts, doing any audio or anything like that. We do everything.
We film, edit, produce, answer the emails, phone calls. Like if you're talking to someone, you're talking to me.
I mean, it's a lot.
Wait a second. You're talking to me? You both said it at the same time. Which one are we talking to?
Both. One of us.
Which is quite funny because when I called you, I was talking to Amanda, but Emily was in the background answering all the questions.
Yeah. So usually if you were to call and we're together, we always put it on speaker, especially if it has to do with fishing because it's two of us.
Yeah. And if I feel like I need to say something, I'm going to say something.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then I would say it depends where we get the emails. She tends to answer more emails.
I answer more emails.
Naturally, we end up getting different roles and positions in our business. It happened the beginning was a little rough, but now it's much more natural.
Okay, so who's in I want to know who's in charge of the DMs.
We both suck at that one.
Yeah, we're not very good at that.
It's really hard.
Okay. So wait a second. I got to tell the story behind it.
Okay.
I got to tell the story behind. What's that?
Because we
ignored
one of your DMs.
I wasn't going to use the word ignore. So during all this COVID going on, I keep inviting people onto the podcast. And I would say, I want to say it was like 2 months ago, maybe even 3, I reached out to you guys, and because of social media, the way it's structured, you have direct access to everybody. Mm-hmm. So instead of trying to find an email, and I could have very easily called Dennis Friel,
right,
and asked for a contact. But I'm like, no, I'll send you guys just how people reach out to me. I went straight to the direct message, and I'm like, listen, here's my podcast. I'd love to get you guys on your podcast, and let me know. And if I had a sound effect for crickets right now, that's what I'd be hitting, because that's what I got. I got crickets.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm really going to look this message, but after you told us that you messaged us, I don't think I could find it. Like, I don't like Instagram messages. They're very difficult.
All I know is when I was talking to you, your sister found it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were on the phone with her and she's talking. You're like, yeah, I sent you a message. So I picked up my phone. And I really quickly searched and I was like, oh, I found it. It's there.
Yeah. And it was so funny because you guys were supposed to go fishing up in Boston. And the person you're going to go fishing with had reached out to me because he wanted to be on my podcast. And I'm like, absolutely. Listen, my only thing is that you're a fisherman and you got a good story. That's, I want people to hear about our industry. And then he was like, you should talk to the Gale Force Twins. And I'm like, well, I already asked them, but they didn't respond to me. Well, you should come up fishing with them also. I'm like, you better ask them before you just invite me to go fishing. I don't invite myself. Next thing you know, it was 2 days later, we were talking, and then we came up with this date to come up. And anybody who's fished with me knows that you have to have thick skin around me, because I'm going to pick on somebody about everything, and I'm going to pick on you about your DMs. So,
but literally, like, we get probably like 50 DMs a day.
No, I get it. Listen, and I'm not knocking you. I'm going to pick on you just because we're here live. But I'm not picking on you because I know it's tough. I know right now it's not so bad, but when I'm fishing, and I'm usually traveling 250 days a year, and when I'm fishing, I'm posting 6 to 10 pictures a day plus all the other story stuff. And before you know it, it's not hard to have 50 DMs. And I try to go through, I spend 3 to 5 hours a day answering every comment, every DM. So I totally get it. It's not easy.
Yeah, what we'll do, I'll binge answer DMs. So I'll like, oh, it's been like 2 weeks. I'll sit on my computer for like hours.
Like a whole day.
Like a whole day. And I'll answer DMs, comments, messages, emails. And emails get answered. Emails get answered pretty quick.
Yeah.
But DMs get tough. Comments get tough to answer. But we try really hard through them. And I mean, like I binge. So it's okay, time to go sit down for 8 hours and we have a DM day.
Oh my gosh, that would drive me. But I say that, but I do it every day. I mean, as it is, I'm answering DMs to 4 different Instagram pages. So, and I'm running 2 of them full bore. So it's labor intensive.
I hate answering comments on my phone. I hate like this little like teeny tiny. So I always like, oh, I'll do it on my computer. So what happens
is you see it pop up on your phone,
and then I'll get to my computer, and then I go on my computer and I like answer them on my computer, but because I can do it quicker and knock it out fast. But then
and that makes sense. That makes sense. And I have somebody laughing. He responds back to other people's DMs. So I was helping a company out with their instant messages and stuff like that. And their storyline. So somebody I knew was commenting on a picture. So I started answering back, and this person didn't know who it was. So they mentioned a picture of that I was in, and they're like, "Hey, I know that guy." I'm like, "What do you know about him?" "Oh, well, he does this, that, and the other." I'm like, "Well, I think he's very sexy." And they're like, "Okay. No, he's a very attractive guy. I'm glad that I get to post pictures of him." And this poor guy, finally he texts me and he goes, "Hey man, do you know who's running this page? Because they're very interesting." So I had to take a screenshot of the page. Then I had to get my other phone and take a picture of me with the screenshot of the page to prove that it was me that was talking to him. He's like, "You idiot, you had me going on."
Definitely talked about, like, not now, but in the future, we might need to hire some help to get us answering these emails and messages. We want to keep as much as we can in our own control. At the same time, if we grow and we need
but we do want to make sure we can get back to everybody.
Exactly.
We don't miss the important ones like yours, which somehow we miss. So we're like, maybe we need someone to help us answer, like,
I'm just glad it wasn't anything super important. It was just my podcast, as opposed to saying, "Hey," because it happens, I get invited to put on these events. "Hey, do you have some people we can fly in?" I could have been inviting you to fish one of my tournaments in Guatemala, and you missed it.
Yeah.
You know.
Now you know to just send us a text.
Well, now I have your direct contact info. That's easy. And it is funny when you start reaching out to people and say, "Hey, listen, how would you like to come fishing this tournament?" "Well, listen, I'm not asking you to pay for it. Whoever it is that's asking me to put on this tournament has asked me to reach out to people." When I did that tournament for Saudi Arabia, they said, "Hey, listen, reach out to 6 teams from around the world. The only thing is you're only allowed 1 team per continent." So I reached out to the biggest social media influencers, and our reach with the 6 teams was something like 5 million. And then this year for 2020, they said, "Okay, can you invite 30 teams?" And when COVID hit, I had invited 19 and our reach was 25 million.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's crazy.
And they were like, "Oh, this is awesome." And I'm like, "No, you guys are the awesome one. You're paying the bills on all these checks. You're flying everybody over. You guys are making it easy on me. All you're saying is they have to be somewhere in the world." There was no budget. There was no anything.
That's pretty
awesome.
And no budget fishing trip.
Doesn't get better.
Oh my God, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Jack Sultan is saying he really loves all your content and he loves all your great adventures.
Oh, thanks, Jack. I'm looking at it right now and I see another. Okay. Yeah, love your great adventures.
I'm assuming you're watching all these come in. I can only grab some of them. I have to give a shout out to my cousin who's calling me crazy. His son got married this weekend. I went to his wedding up in Okeechobee. It's funny because people don't realize how many cowboy hats and cowboys there are in Florida. Once you go to the middle of the state, it's pretty huge. So I was at a cowboy wedding this weekend. In the rain. It was pouring.
Oh, well, we had our fish camp this weekend, and it was, we had a rain delay yesterday. Well, it wasn't really a rain delay, it was a lightning delay.
Huge difference.
In the rain, but it
was torrential downpour, lightning, the sky was black. Okay, let's go a little later. And we were dodging storms all day, and then we ended up getting stuck in a downpour on our way home. And then that was on Saturday, and thankfully yesterday, which was Sunday, we actually only got drilled on at the very end. So
Saturday had the bad rainstorms and thunderstorms, but the
Sunday was
sea
blowing
conditions were not bad.
The sea conditions were fine, but Sunday was blowing like 25 knots.
Oh,
crazy! So we went
to fish the Gulf.
To fish the Gulf, where we're a lot more protected. But yeah, it's the weather.
What'd you catch?
Well, Saturday we went to the reef. We actually caught some a lot of groupers.
Yeah,
we caught some red groupers,
mutton snappers,
yellowtail snappers. It was a big reef day.
And we caught a big eel. The boat I was on, so we had 2 boats, and I had 6 ladies. She had 6 ladies. and my group of ladies, one of them caught a huge green moray eel. Like this thing was probably like 4 feet long. It was massive. And the way it was fighting, we're like, that's not acting like a fish.
Yep. And then yesterday we went to the Gulf, so we caught Goliath groupers, a lot of sharks,
stingrays.
It's
a very action-filled day, not
very
so much
action
a
filled,
meat
not a
fishing
meat day. But my boat caught a lane snapper. I swear this thing was like 15 inches long. And lane snappers, they're like 10 inches.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa! I thought it was a small mutton at first. It was just a lane.
We also caught Goliath groupers.
Right, I said that.
Oh,
so just so you know, we've got a offshore sea condition report right now. Matt George is saying it's a little bumpy off the Loran Tower right now. So the conditions have continued even though the weekend is over.
Hopefully it's better next weekend.
Hopefully. And my cousin just sent me a nice text message. So good on him. He's watching and he's commenting. I love it. And he sent me a text message. Feeling the family love. I love it. Now I have to ask you a question. It did come up and it passed through. What is the biggest fish you ladies have caught individually?
This is always a hard question. Well, it's not a hard question.
Wait, that's a hard question?
Because, one of the biggest fish we've caught was an over 200-pound swordfish. But that was an individual thing. That was like a team. Sword fishing, you have electric reels and you have someone driving the boat, someone harpooning it. Right?
Absolutely.
That was more of a team biggest fish.
Well, I think it was like a 300-pound swordfish.
Honestly,
but
we didn't have a scale.
And we estimated at 200 pounds. We took some measurements and apparently, like, we thought it was at like
we knew it was over 200.
We knew it was over 200, but then I showed the pictures to a guy that used to be a commercial swordfish guy, and he was like,
that's a 300-pound
fish. So it seemed like the commercial guys were like, no, that's a 300-pound fish, because we went online to, like, you know how you can do the measurements, get it, but estimate for swordfish, I don't know if measurements are accurate.
They're not as accurate.
Right. It was girthy and like large. So, once we asked some commercial swordfish guys, they were like, no, that was like a 300-pound swordfish. So that was something the two of us caught on our boat. I would say that's a really big catch. But then your biggest catch, like individually, you caught like a 400-pound blue marlin in Kona.
And then
in Kona.
Yeah, Kona, Hawaii.
Okay.
And then I probably caught like a 200-pound blue marlin in Kona.
Yeah, but it's interesting that when you say your biggest catch ever, and it's like blue marlin and swordfish, but they're not necessarily the most memorable. Right, like my biggest, when I thought
you haven't let me get to the next part of the question. I was just asking what was on the screen, man. Somebody said, "What's their biggest catch ever?" I'm repeating it, but what's your most memorable catch?
Well, my most memorable catch was like a 65-inch dolphin.
Someone asked about that mahi.
Okay, perfect. I'll tell.
Actually, somebody did ask. I was assuming you knew them. Somebody was asking. What's that?
They just asked about the 65-inch mahi.
Yes, we were in Costa Rica, fishing on the fly boats.
Oh, that's what they asked you. The open fly. Gale Twins remember the mahi caught on the open fly. It was Christian Rojas.
And that was actually pretty early in our fishing career, you could say, where we were really starting to make a name for ourselves, figure out what direction we wanted to go in, kind of like figure out like who we were in this world.
Yeah, in a way, finding ourselves.
And I remember that trip. That was my first time dead bait sail fishing ever, and it was really my first time dropping baits back. And I was like, holy cow, like I put on backlash. Like I was so nervous.
Intimidating.
I had done kite fishing before this, so I understood dropping baits back and all that. But when you're kite fishing with live bait, it's a little bit different when you're on a boat trolling and the boat's already moving. So I had this huge, it was this 65-inch mahi, but we saw it come like it was like porpoising towards my bait, and we saw it coming, and I dropped my bait back. I fed the fish independently. Nobody touched the rod, and I did not backlash, not even close to backlashing, all into myself. And I think that fish, that was the first fish that I had completely independently dropped my bait back, reeled it in, in Costa Rica, a fish that size. It was just one of those moments where it was like, wow, that was me. Like I did that. Yeah. So that was my most memorable catch, especially because it was so early on. to catch such a big fish so early on into my fishing career, it was like a game changer. So 65 is huge.
Sweet. Now, what about your most memorable?
Oh, it's funny. People ask me this a lot, and I feel like when people ask me that, I don't have one thing that sticks out. I don't for some reason. We always talk about this. I definitely have a few really great memories, and I guess in some ways, one of my most memorable might be my first sailfish, because I did, see, as I'm saying this, I'm like, remember that wahoo? Do the wahoo. So it's still tell the wahoo story. It's just like
tell the wahoo. Yeah, do the wahoo.
A lot of my memorable catches are just like my first of a species. And this wahoo story is actually really funny. So the two of us went out by ourselves. This was early on in our careers when we pretty much just knew like basic bottom fishing and trolling. We didn't really have like that knowledge of species specific for wahoos and things like that. But we knew you had to troll faster for wahoos, and we knew the type of lures that they liked. And
did you ask the wahoo that?
Let me finish my story.
Okay. Sorry. You're right. There you go.
Our pullback coach actually he had a bunch of wahoo lures that he was selling his boat. So he was like, do you want these lures? I was like, sure, I'll take them. And there's this bright pink and white islander, and it had the cable on it. It was already rigged for us. He had it ready to go. He was like, here, go use this. We didn't have wahoo, we didn't have gear like rods and reels for like high speed trolling. So we just went as fast as we could as the reels could handle. So like, we're just gonna go as fast as we can and put this lure out. And literally, it was like, I don't know, maybe 2 hours went by, and we knew we were trolling in the right depth. We were in like 150.
We knew the water depth area. We knew that kind of stuff.
And I look at her. Oh, do you think we should Google something about this? Because I don't really know what we're doing. And I kid you not, the reel went off.
Like she was like, we were ready. Like I literally picked up my phone and I was gonna Google like how to catch wahoo or how to high speed troll, because we were just like going as fast as the reels could handle. We didn't have the reels that could really handle high speed wahoo fishing, and like it was just the reel went screaming the second I picked my phone up, and we were like, is it it? I don't know. So we reeled it in, and
you gaffed it.
I gaffed it.
I caught the fish.
She bought the fish, and then it took me like 3 times to gaff it correctly. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't lose this thing, but we got in a boat, and that was probably it's your most memorable, but it was our catch too. A very memorable wahoo.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Now I have a question. I don't have a question, but McGrew Rice, who still holds the high school pole vaulting record in Hawaii, wants to know, who did you fish with in Kona?
We fished with Brian Toney on the Melee.
On the Melee. Okay. Brian Toney used to be a deckhand for McGrew.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. McGrew's the one that asked. So, and I had McGrew on a few weeks ago. So
go watch that one. Yeah, we that trip we fished with him for like 4 days straight in Kona. It was really fun. We caught blue marlin.
I think we went
every day. I think the best day was 4 for 4.
No, was it
3 for 4?
I thought we went. I don't know. I feel like we had.
You know what it's like in Hawaii.
I think it was like 2 to 3 a day, and it would be like we went 3. We went 1 for 2. One day we went 3 for 3. You know how like blue marlin fishing can be. So it was actually.
I definitely, and I don't know if you guys know, I used to run a boat out in Hawaii.
No,
I used to live out there for just over 18 months.
That's
really
cool.
Did you like it?
I loved it. But my biggest thing that I miss is the people. I made such great friends while I was out there. I spent my first 20 seasons, 20 plus years in in the industry out of the Caribbean, because I speak Spanish, between Venezuela and Costa Rica and St. Thomas. I did 20 seasons in St. Thomas. And then I got an offer to run a boat in Hawaii. And my friends are like, what are you doing? You're going to leave where you know everybody and everything, going to go somewhere where you don't know anything? And I'm like, I want to learn. I want to try something different, you know? And I enjoyed it. I loved it. I made great friends. McGrew, who's watching, he was my dock partner. He was 2 boats over. And next to me on the other side, I had Gene Vanderhook. So I had a lot of great guys around me, and truly enjoyed my time out there.
That's cool. Were you on Kona? Were you staying on Kona?
Yeah, I lived in Kona. That's where right there in Hanakahau. That's where my boat was. Yeah.
Trip to Hawaii.
What's that?
talking about it. I'm like,
we had our high school graduation trip was to Hawaii, and our college graduation trip we went to Hawaii.
Really?
Both of our lives, we wanted to go to Hawaii. And we did some really cool stuff. We fished both times. We did a manta ray night dive. That was cool. Probably one of
the manta ray dive is cool.
That was really cool.
It was actually not as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be.
For
me, it was very memorable, but the water was cold. And I mean, it's like, isn't it 70 degrees year round there? The water?
Not 70. It's like 77. Okay. Yeah, and you're diving at night, so it's not like you have the sun warming you up at the same time.
College in December, so we were there in January. So it was winter, it was cold, it was windy, and I didn't have a thick enough wetsuit for that water temperature, so I had to rent a wetsuit. But they ran out of my size, so I had a size too large.
So you were just freezing.
I was freezing. The current was so strong the night that we did it. I was like I was literally like laying on my stomach on the seafloor, like holding onto rocks, like just trying to like watch the manta rays go by.
It was raining.
It was raining.
Like, and it never rains in Kona.
Yeah.
It rained on you?
It rained on us while we were doing the dive.
Oh my gosh.
This was the winter though. But I had rented a wetsuit too, and I rented the only extra small. So she had to wear a small wetsuit. So I was all warm and cozy in my wetsuit, and she was like freezing the whole time. We bought wetsuits. Yes. I don't have to rent one anymore.
Now you travel with wetsuits.
Yeah.
I listen, I get it. It's like all our other fishing apparel that we travel with.
Oh yeah, you have to have it all. It doesn't fit. I mean, before we were supposed to go to Boston, go bluefin tuna fishing, and we don't have a lot of winter fishing gear. So I went online and I ordered some.
We talked to you about
it.
No, I have there. I'm looking at the box that has your guys' name. Actually, it has my name on it, but the inside stuff has your name on it. I got to send that out to you.
Earlier about like in a sport, it's really important that your uniform fits, and it's the same way with fishing. Whether you're fishing in 20 degrees or 80 degrees, your clothing needs to fit comfortably so you can feel like you can perform properly.
Absolutely. You have to have. If not, you're not comfortable, and then you're not having fun.
It's just like a dumb.
Exactly. I mean, we ended up going online, and I bought a bunch of stuff as well, which I kept it all because I know I'm gonna need it, but we ended up not wearing it, which is kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
but we'll have to
go back. Someone did ask us about our Boston trip.
Yeah, it was Paul. He said, "How did you guys enjoy the Boston trip?" But they didn't go because the weather was so bad.
We did go.
So
you did go.
No. So the trip that you were going to be there got canceled.
Okay.
So that was your second time going. So we did have a trip already. I think it was maybe 2 months prior that we went, and we went to just Boston. We were in Boston. We fished for 3 days.
We fished for bluefin tuna. We hooked into a bluefin. Unfortunately, we didn't land it, and that is what inspired us to go back. Because after the first trip, we hooked into a bluefin. And after 2 days of fishing that and not landing one, the third day we decided to go catch stripers.
Okay.
Lobstering. And at that point we were kind of like, we went Maine lobster, which was super cool. I love that part. We did a bunch of YouTube videos on our trip to Boston. And we even did like a little touristy day where we went and ate like cannolis, and it was very fun. I loved it. And because the trip was so great, we planned a second trip to go back and hopefully land our bluefin. And that second trip is the one that got canceled because of the hurricanes. There were like 5 hurricanes offshore when this trip was supposed to happen.
Oh no, it was the craziest time to go. Hold on one second. Somebody's saying something about their daughter. Just want to comment that with all the women fishing YouTubers, my 11-year-old daughter likes watching you guys because enjoys watching you guys because most others use their body to promote their videos. Kudos to you both for being a role model for younger girls and showing that you don't need to show off your body to be as successful. As a father, I truly appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
First of all, thank you. That is so kind. And
tell your daughter hello personally.
Tell her hello from us. Please do. I think that is a priority of ours, is to always keep all of our content, whether it's a photo, a video, a podcast. We always want to keep it family friendly because we do feel like we kind of look at it as, you know how in the car world, there are women like in the car shows, there's car models.
Yeah, exactly.
Fish World has the same thing.
And to each his own. I would never hate on anybody like that, but we just wanted to do something different because we felt like there was a niche that had a void in it, and we wanted to take that niche. And
we just felt there wasn't a lot of like family friendly fishing YouTube channels. A lot of them are very either hardcore,
their marketing, their markets were just very different.
Just a different market. And we videos that any age, any person in their life, any season they're in can watch and enjoy.
Right.
You could turn it on if you have a newborn baby at the house. You could turn it on if your grandparents are over, or you can watch it with your boyfriend or girlfriend or your wife. And we
exactly
all audiences.
I know for me, it's one of the reasons why I don't curse while we're doing all these live videos, because I have a lot of young kids that watch it.
Yeah.
All my videos on YouTube are all educational. They're all about teaching people. So there's no cursing. And that's how most young people nowadays consume or want to learn something. They're not going to read a book. They're going to watch a video. They're going to YouTube it. So I want to keep stuff family friendly. Now, don't get me on a boat, because then I might drop a few bombs out there, but that's different when you're amongst friends.
No, it's definitely funny. We've been filming on other people's boats, like we did with Anthony and the Bluefin tuna fishing, and we did Pulley Ridge trips, and there's always other people around there that forget that we're filming family friendly, and in the background they might say a swear word or say something inappropriate, and they're always like, I'm so sorry. Or like, guys, it's fine, be yourself, I'll place it out. Like, I don't want anybody to feel like they can't be themselves.
Yeah, like we're like,
exactly,
feel like we're gonna be like, oh,
I'm not gonna judge you.
Like, it's fine, I really don't care, be yourself, but I just don't know if it's gonna make the cut.
Exactly.
So with that being said, I want to give a big shout out. Josh Wilkinson is saying, and ladies, I apologize that I'm going to give myself kudos, but I'm going to give kudos. Josh is saying, I'd like to express my biggest thanks to Fly for not trying to use or show off his body either in order to gain followers. So yes, not a problem. It is 100% my pleasure. I don't do those kind of things. You do not want to see me in a bikini. There are pictures, but I do not want to show off those pictures.
I see that you guys do more freshwater trips, which
you guys do more freshwater trips?
It's actually something that we've been kind of dabbling in. We've been such saltwater fishermen our whole lives, and then since we've really made saltwater fishing a career, though, there's days where the weather is too rough to go saltwater fishing. So we're like, well, why don't we try some freshwater fishing? So we have created some freshwater fishing YouTube videos, but it doesn't seem like people care for them. Or not that they don't care for them.
Right. So we had a freshwater video come out last night on our YouTube channel, and we went peacock bass fishing by foot. And the whole purpose was because it was rough and we couldn't get on a boat. So we figured, let's go by foot. And we took everyone bass fishing with us. But I think we marketed ourselves so heavily in the saltwater world that when the freshwater video goes out, it doesn't get as much attention.
But I will say to that, I really don't care about that, because we do want to do more freshwater.
Right. It's just interesting that they're like, oh, I don't know. It surprised me because
your followers have already gotten used to one thing. So you need to build a new following group for the freshwater.
And especially in South Florida, there's the freshwater fishing is phenomenal.
Oh my God, we got great freshwater fishing.
So I've really enjoyed learning about it, and it's such a different change of pace for us. So we have been putting some time in doing freshwater fishing, and I think our main market's always going to be saltwater, but we know the freshwater world is so huge and so many people want to learn about it. And one thing I like about freshwater is that it's accessible.
It's affordable
to everybody. It's affordable. You don't need a boat. You can go by foot. You need a rod, a reel, and a lure. And that's pretty much it. So I think the freshwater world is something that we both definitely want to dabble in. And we're going to start working on it.
I think a goal of ours down the road is to get a small little bass boat.
It actually is.
That's a goal of ours. So we can take it. We want to travel around the state of Florida, the United States, wherever, and we want to put it in all these different lakes and freshwater fish. That's definitely something
that's actually it's on our bucket list too.
Let it be said, let it be true. You said it here first. It's going to happen. So you can't see it because the way that I have the camera, this right here is a sliding glass window, and this is my whiteboard. So when I get an idea for something, I put it on the whiteboard, and that means it's going to happen. If I put it on the whiteboard, that means it's going. And I have put some crazy things on this whiteboard. But once it goes on the whiteboard, it happens. You have to write your goals down and they'll happen. Matt George is throwing out there selfish trip in Stewart with one more bite ? And my biggest thing that I'm going to say to that was our offshore fishing report was by Matt George. Really, Matt? You watch this every day. I've had you on my podcast. You don't even invite me. You invite the Gale Force Twins. Seriously. I've had you on my podcast. We talk all the time. You've even wanted to be a sponsor at one of my tournaments. And I said, absolutely. I don't get one of these almighty come fishing on the one more bite on live, but you give it to the Gale Force Twins.
Well,
I'll remember that.
To go on this sailfish trip bite in Stewart. So
we were actually just in
Stewart last week, but
were you? Matt says you're always invited. And then my biggest fan has just joined us. Tarzan, my man, how are you, sir? We were talking about you earlier before we were on live. Tarzan, how about a little fishing report for everybody? Tarzan feeds his entire family. I don't know if you ladies have noticed this. This guy goes out, he catches fish, he fillets it, he cooks it, the whole 9 yards. He right there is Tarzan, just so you know, we also tired, I mowed 3 yards. Oh, he has to pay for his fishing tackle. That's how he pays for his fishing tackle. He cuts grass.
That's awesome.
That's perfect.
You know?
Yeah, we pay for our fishing tackle by working on charter boats.
Yeah.
Listen, that's fair. I used to do that. Now I just talk on social media to pay for my tackle. Yep. Bill from Gray's Taxidermy. Good to see you, Bill. And let's see who else is there's so many people that are joining in. Where can I learn sport fishing for sales, bill fishing, getting into tournaments down south? Howard Johns, Hojo, first of all, you need to retire and leave Nova Scotia. It's too cold up there for billfish. Come on down and I'll show you, Hojo. Abram, been catching lots of snook and reds and hundreds of mangrove snapper. He sent me the picture of the cutest snook he caught yesterday. That was like 2 inches.
No way.
He caught it in his cast net. So,
we actually went freshwater fishing, and in our cast net we caught like bass like this big.
Yeah, oh my goodness,
it was crazy.
Yeah.
That YouTube video is coming soon.
Yeah,
but it was really cool.
That video is coming soon. Do we have a date for that? Do you know?
Probably next week. Yeah.
Okay, everybody, make sure you watch next week. Gale Force Twins on YouTube, Gale Force Twins on Facebook and Instagram, correct? TikTok. Did I tell you I got shadow banned on TikTok?
Yeah.
I'm still shadow banned. It's been over 4 weeks.
Wow. We had a few videos get taken down.
I've had videos taken down, but now I've been shadow banned. It's bad. Adam wants to know, when are you going to do a redfish video?
So Adam, I believe, is a top fan on our page. So thanks for coming over to Fly's page. We actually had a lot of people asking us to do redfish and snook videos, and we really do need to get out there and do it. We're just such offshore girls that, we haven't really gotten around to it, but we really need to just put it in the calendar.
Maybe it's got to go on the whiteboard.
Put it on the whiteboard. And
hold on. That's what this pen is for. That pen and that pen is to write on the whiteboard. As soon as you get an idea. This one was just so I knew your name. So there's an arrow pointed down on the computer screen.
Catch snook in Stewart, but we ended up going offshore and catching some tunas because of the mullet runs going on up there right now.
It's actually going on down here too. Palm Beach. I just found out.
Nice. So yeah, definitely we need to do some redfish. And honestly, we have some really good friends in Islamorada that do a lot of that backcountry fishing that we could easily just go out and catch them. It's just a matter of it.
Exactly. What are we waiting for?
In the calendar.
No. That's when you need the real pen.
Yes.
Put it in the calendar. Put it in the calendar.
Google Calendar.
It's
really
pretty
scary.
hectic. We share a Google Calendar account, and it's all over the place.
It's like everything's that like
everything
you see all that like it's really scary, and it's color coordinated. So
well, you know, and it's so funny because when I text you this morning when we were getting ready to jump on, I'm like, did I send you a link? Because it wasn't in my computer calendar. It was on my phone calendar. But the computer calendar comes up once I create the links, they automatically go.
Interesting.
So I was like, how come you're not in my calendar? So, and I put everything in the calendar because if not, I'll double book.
Oh yeah, we're really big calendar people. Obviously, we have everything super organized, detailed. We have an upload schedule. YouTube videos go out Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday,
8 p.m. Eastern.
But this week we might actually go out Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, because like we said, we got our clothing, our apparel just came in. So since we're working on getting that inventory up, we really want to get a YouTube video about it.
We actually filmed the whole process
of getting
going
our
to
clothing, getting our clothes from Dennis, going to his studio, watching him paint. He's painting this really awesome Wahoo painting right now. And we really want to get that up this week, but I don't know if we're gonna have time to get up Tuesday night. So this week we'll probably get it up Wednesday at 8 p.m.
It's always
Eastern.
8 p.m. Eastern.
Always 8 p.m. Mine's always 3 a.m. That's when I always, on YouTube, I always post up at 3 a.m. But a lot of my content is consumed in the Middle East and Europe.
Right. So ours is we try to do primetime TV for America. That's what we do.
And and that's perfect. And again, right now, I got to give a shout out to Alex, who's watching from Cameroon. Alex and his wife, they watch from Cameroon all the time. And Taylor just tagged Connected by Water, Dennis Frio. Now, did you guys see that I did a podcast with Dennis?
I did.
Did you ever hear the story about the podcast with me and Dennis?
No. I heard a story about it.
So, and it's a very basic, it's not too over the top, but I asked Dennis, I go, hey, what kind of time constraint do we have here? Because I'm notorious for once I start talking, I can talk for hours. And he's like, you can talk as long as you want. And I'm like, yes. And this is before my podcast. And so I drove down there. We started talking. It was right before Christmas. So the first thing I did was I put the Christmas hat on and we started yapping. And at the 2 hour and 26 minute mark, his next podcast walked in and Dennis is like, Fly, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to cut it short because my next podcast is here.
Podcast with him too. They go like hour 45 easily.
Yeah, it's not hard. I usually try to cap these off at about an hour and we're already like an hour and 20 in it. But the numbers are good. I don't want to cut people off. But this is usually, that's why I already want to make sure I put your social media pages so people can find you and that kind of stuff. So we don't forget about any of that stuff. But I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to ask you ladies to come back again, because the numbers are great. But at the same time, I don't want to draw people's attention for 2 hours. But I'd love to get you guys on another segment of this. Maybe we can do it after your bluefin trip or any other fishing trip, so we can highlight it. Or I'm glad we're able to do it now that you're getting ready to launch your clothing line, which is going up right after this podcast.
I'm gonna literally we got to take some pictures of all the shirts, get them on our website, and the goal is to have it up tonight, like on my website
it's
tonight.
Not a goal. No, it's
in the calendar. It's happening.
It's happening.
It's happening.
I don't care if
it might be midnight, but it's happening.
Now I'm pissing people off. Matt says I never asked him to come back for a second podcast, and I'm asking you guys to come back for a second podcast. Well, Matt, it was only one of you. There's two of them. So literally they only got half a podcast each. So now to make it a full podcast, we have to do a second one. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Double fun.
Exactly. Ken is saying, get the shirts up on the site soon. Dave, what are you doing later on this week? Let's get you on. Dave is like, I've never been on there. Dave was my editor when I had a column in Marlin magazine. He was the editor in chief for Marlin when I had my own column. So Dave, let's get you. And Dave is on the Chevy Insider Report. So Dave, let's get you on this week. What are you doing this week, buddy? I'll send you a call. I didn't know everybody was so sensitive to this. Wow. But on that note, Gale Force Twins on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, Gale Force, hold on a minute, fishing.com to get all the clothing. And for this podcast, it's live now on Facebook and YouTube, but it will be, and I'll make sure I'll tag you guys on the YouTube once it's done processing. But it will be also once we pull the audio, and that's what I was doing before we called up. I was pulling audio, and it'll be live on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora. Oh, this is the best one. When you go to your friend's house and you go, Alexa, play Fly Navarro's No BS, and she'll do it. And we are on Alexa Play. So if you want to hear the podcast, we'll be there as well. So anyway, for everybody else, I will go through and answer any questions that were made for me. If they were for the Gale Force Twins, maybe they'll answer back, but I can't speak for them. I can only speak for me. Any kids clothing on your clothing line?
Yes, we do. We do have kids shirts,
Performance shirts.
kids performance shirts.
Okay.
And hats, they're soft. We have a few styles of hats, and the softer hats, we call them.
The dad cap style is
We
very
have-
small, so fit on a
kids-
small head.
A lot of kids wear them too. It's the same hats that we wear, but I've seen kids wear them, and
But we have a really small head.
We have small.
Liam would love stuff. Liam is Josh's son, and Josh has already shared all of this stuff to all his pages. He owns Boaters Planet, so all the do-it-yourself boaters pages, he's got like 6 or 7 of them. He shares all the podcasts, so they're already shared to his pages. So on that note, to all you cool cats and kittens, actually, I'm changing that line. Somebody told me to change it to all you catfish and minnows. Do you know where all you cool cats and kittens comes from?
No.
It comes from the Tiger King. At the beginning of COVID, we had the Tiger King. What's her face? Carol Baskin always says, "You cool cats and kittens." But somebody talked me into saying, "All you cool catfish and minnows." That's how we're going to wrap it up from now on the podcast. Catfish and minnows. No more cats and kittens, because we don't talk about cats and kittens. So you ladies stand by right there. Don't hang up on me yet. Everybody else, I really, really appreciate you guys joining us today and listening in. And I really don't even think we got into a full story of all the stuff you guys do. So we'll definitely need to circle back around and do a part 2 on this. But everybody, thank you so much for your time today. Again, you can, if you missed anything, you can watch it on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, iHeart, and any of the other ones. And very soon you'll be able to watch it up on my new website. So everybody, thank you so much for your time today. Gale Force Twins, Emily and Amanda, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we will check everybody out later this week. Peace out, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for having us.